that as a result, I don't think he can have that inner confidence in the same way. And then on top of that, the other three players are just way too green, and they've never had a big win over a team of this status, so there's no reason for them to even conceive of it. Like, their best case scenario is that they go in just hoping they can win. What do you think about any of that? Or none of it, or anything?
Well, I mean, I agree that they're definitely like a new team, and they like to go into this match believing they can win 100% is probably pretty foolish considering what Navi's done and what they've actually done. But at the same time, they are scrimming these guys online all the time, and I've been told that they've won like BO7s versus SK and Navi on occasion. It's not like consistent or anything, and scrims don't actually mean that much. But maybe they can trick themselves with stuff like that, you know. Oh yeah, we beat them in the scrims, we beat them on this map before, you know, blah blah blah. And that actually can help them, I think.
The thing is, here's the problem, right, with the Finnish teams. Because I have talked to so many of the Finnish players over the years, like I've known Nasu and Lurpus for years and years, so they've always been one of the few teams I actually get updates about their practice. And so they just say like, oh yeah, we won this match against so-and-so. I've heard way too many times now, yeah, we're doing amazingly, guys. We're thrashing Fnatic like 16-2. We're beating everyone on average. And then they go to the LAN and come like 9th to 12th, 7th to 8th. Like, it's just too many times now. So I wonder if even they believe that stuff anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest problem with them is having
I have to go
basically-
turn my torrents off, so just like speak to the audience a sec.
I'm just going to tell you guys about the interesting thing about like talking about WinFakt is I actually am like pretty good friends with Lurpus, so he tells me a lot about stuff about their team and stuff, and I know that for WinFakt to actually do really good, they're going to need Basic to be playing as his like to his full potential, which he hasn't really been doing consistently on LAN. He has those big games, he has those huge multi-frag rounds, but not consistently to first the top like elite teams, the top 5 teams in the world like they're playing right now. And basically, if Basic can get to that level, with Gigatis playing pretty solid, he doesn't seem to be affected that much from what I've seen playing versus good teams. So if they can get Basic, Gigatis, and having Azlak hitting like pretty, hitting a lot of op shots, I think they're in a pretty decent position. But they really need a lot of things to go right for him in this series for the matches to be closer to win. And I don't know when this match is actually going to start. It seems to be 5 minutes until it's supposed to go live, and not a single person's in the server.
Okay, give me a synopsis of what you were saying.
I was saying basically that in order for WinFakt to do anything in this BO3, they need Basic to be playing at his top level, which we all know that Basic is a pretty good aimer, but he hasn't really shown his true potential versus any top teams yet. He's been able to, you know, like own Fnatic and those lower, like mid semi-elite teams, but as soon as he gets to the top 5 elite, he seems to crumble and not really do anything. So if Basic plays how he could play at his best versus the top teams, they have Azlak, you know, playing the best that he can, and they have Gigatis. I don't honestly think Gigatis is going to be that affected. I feel like the way he plays and the things I've seen him do in the past, he's like probably their best player and the most consistent. He just seems to play his game and not be affected by much.
Gigatis?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my perspective. Like, just in terms of what I've learned from my own experience watching Counter-Strike and my own approach, I never take any, like, I don't believe in the word potential. That word means nothing to me. Even the word talent means almost nothing, because people tend to use both of those words to talk about something that they imagine someone has that has never actually developed yet. So I only tend to go on what I've seen proven. And so... Wait there a second. This is just garbage. Why am I like passing messages backwards and forwards between two people who have the same program? Anyway, so what I've seen over the years is that you can never count on anything that hasn't been proven yet. So
Yeah, I
Personally,
wasn't
when
saying
I
they
look
should
at...
count on it, but they need it. They need him to do.
Oh, yeah, I'd
like
agree with that. Like, I think for them to be a top team, for them to break into the top four, I think Aslak and Gigatus have to be their best players. Because if Basic only has to be like the third or fourth best player, and then Nasu has to only also be the third or fourth best player, then they can be a really good team. The problem at the moment, in my opinion, is that they're relying on Aslak to be their best player or their most effective player, and I haven't seen him do anything against the top teams.
yeah,
Like, for me, Nasu is their best player because he's the only player I've seen do really crazy shit against top teams and do, like, pull out good rounds every single time he plays. And even when he loses, I feel like he makes correct decisions. Whereas my big problem with the three newer players, Gigatus, Aslak, and Basic, right, I don't watch low-level Counter-Strike because it's on medium level because it's not very interesting to me. I only try to watch the most important games because they're the most relevant. And so I think they're the ones that you can like focus in on the most and read the most from. And so I haven't seen many games where Aslak was going crazy or Basic was going crazy, which apparently they do when they're playing lesser teams. So to me, I keep watching them and I'm going, okay, well, when are they going to do something nuts? And everyone's going, no, listen, they're really, really good players and I'm sure they're going to do something good soon. So just keep watching. And I keep watching and I'm like, I'm not seeing anything yet. Like I've seen, like even the game they won against Fnatic on Mirage, I actually felt like almost all the Fnatic players outplayed the WinFakt guys for the majority of the game. And then WinFakt just somehow pulled it out towards the end. And when they played against Mouse, it really felt like a mismatch when they were in... I'm not on about in the IEM game, I'm on about E-Stars, that is.
yeah.
Like, skill-wise, they never were on. Like, in that match there, like I was saying, like, some of the SK players were on, but they still managed to lose, even by, like, big rounds at times. So it's like, if your players at least are showing me each round, even when they lose, like I said about Nasu, that they're doing good decisions, that when they do hit shots, they're like really nice shots, and they seem like it's just like happenstance that they lost. It's not like a habitual concern. Then I'm not as worried. Then I feel like, yeah, okay, eventually their round's gonna come. So that's why I say the reason this game is interesting for me is because it's like a proving ground for WinFakt. Like, this is their chance to go up against one of the best teams in the world. As we've discussed already, probably on maps that aren't their best maps. Now, WinFacts, that is. So as a result, this is like going to be the absolute case limit example of what WinFact's capable of doing right now. Or they'll get blown out. So either way, there'll be something to watch.
Yeah, if they ever actually join the server. As Nami's known for, they take really long breaks and like kind of piss admins off, right?
I mean, the funny thing is, the way I used to watch Counter-Strike, because I had a bunch of years where I didn't do any journalism anymore, so it wasn't about trying to just be like, just accurately just describe what was happening regardless of who I want to win. I had a few years where I did just watch it only as a fan, and I still try to watch with those eyes now, but I also try and like filter what I'm seeing through like the rational point of view. Like, even if I want a team to win a round, if they're probably not gonna, then I have to like accept that and analyze why that is. So when I think about these teams, the two teams that have broken my heart the most is the Finnish teams like 69N, 28E, and the Korean teams, We Made Fox, Eastro, etc. Because these teams always seemed to have that potential, always seemed when they had good games, like, oh, they can go to that next level. But then they just never did in the way that the top Swedish teams or the top Danish teams did. And so, what is there to suggest that they'll do it now?
I think that's actually a good point. Is like, I think some of these teams, like you said, We Made Fox and the Finnish teams, and even some of the German teams had a lot of potential and never actually did anything.
Well, same with Alternate, because Alternate would have one of those series where you'd be like, wow, they could actually be the third or fourth best team in the world, but then, next tournament they wouldn't be so good.
Yeah, and then you have like a random, like not a random team, but you have like MIBR from Brazil. Now, yeah, they have skilled players, but the thing is that, like, on average, they're all dumber than most of the European players that they play. They don't make the best decisions. They don't play really the same version of Counter-Strike that everyone else seems to be playing. They just run around. But I truly believe that all 5 of those Brazilian guys believe they can win, and they try as hard as they possibly can, and that's what eventually gets them titles every once in a while.
I mean, I guess it might sound difficult to explain fully just in the space of one conversation, but when I was describing the situation with Rui before, the reason why I said, like, you can't have 5 of him on your team is because then you will be overconfident and you'll actually make more mistakes because you're so confident. The reason you need 1 or 2 of those guys, first of all, if they're your best player, then actually everyone else doesn't need to have confidence in themselves. They can go, okay, well, I'm confident that he is really good and he's not afraid, so if he plays up to his potential, then we can still win, and then it means you don't feel like you have to carry all the load yourself. Whereas the big problem is, if you're in the position that like WinFakt is, compared to what you were saying there about MIBR, it's not that, like, here would be the best way to describe it. If you believed that you could fly and that nothing could ever kill you, then you would make stupid decisions in your life that probably would kill you. But if you had to save your own life, you had to like jump out of a window of a burning building across a gap that was like 3 stories down, but the gap is within your reach. You can jump that far, but to do it, if you were just doubting yourself, you're probably going to fall and fuck up. So in that one moment, for that one moment there, you need to at least believe for the beginning part so you can get over. But if you just believe on like without any rational reason or any good basis that you could jump any distance, then you would fuck up and take a different jump at another point in your life where you'd die. So it's like the difference between that. You can't go either way ridiculously, but you have to have some degree of confidence, and it has to be like founded in something.
Well,
you know?
I think the Brazilians always had a good a good. They didn't overextend their limits for the most part, but
well, I mean, just to finish that last point. So the key thing I think is that let me think what I was going to say. Okay, so the key thing is, if Aslak, Basic, and Gigatus have that belief, then they can get to another level and they can become better and they can have a chance and win these big games. But if they themselves don't believe it, then that becomes a suspicious sign to me. Because if they themselves have all this talent and this potential to do it, but they know what they can do and they believe that they can do it and they believe they can beat this team, then, well, not if they can rather, but if they themselves don't believe it, then how can I believe it? That's a big problem for me. Whereas I'm a lot more comfortable going with the guy who maybe actually can't do quite as good as he thinks he can, but he at least believes he can, so I believe he could do something just below that, you know?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's hard to articulate stuff like that. But it's like an interesting perspective to put it in, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've many of times jumped across burning buildings and saved my life, so. But it looks like Zeus is actually joining the server here. So hopefully the Navi team follows. So check if... Tommy's offline, but that usually means that he should be going into the server pretty soon. He signed off 1 minute ago.
Oh yeah, well let's give some comment on the other semi-final then, because the interesting thing there is, what's interesting is, I mean, I've always said in modern day Counter-Strike, because the skill ceiling in Counter-Strike is not unlimited in how high it is, or rather it can keep going up and up, but it's limited in how much skill you can have overall. Like, even if you have really good aim, it doesn't make you that much better than the guy who's just behind you and who has all the same experience, etc., etc. So as a result, in every domestic scene where the second best team knows the first team pretty well, and their players have played against them and in 10-mans, and they've played in pogs with them and they scrimmed them, and they've even played them at tournaments, and they're confident playing that team because they've beat. Well, first of all, if you've lost to them lots, you have nothing to fear anymore. If you've even gotten a slight edge on them, or you've won some halves, then you feel like, right, fuck it, we'll be able to do it next time. So as a result, I think fear factor will actually be fairly